Hello, everyone. I'm here with Noel and Kyle, and today we'll be talking about our partnership with Egnyte. To start here, I just wanted to ask you guys if you could give us a quick rundown on what Egnyte is and what sets them apart from the market and with their competitors.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Egnyte is a intelligent cloud file system. We were born around the same time as Dropbox and Google Drive and kind of this emerging file sync and share space in kind of 2008, 2010. And I would say what sets us apart is from the very beginning, we were built as a file server replacement or a file server in the cloud. And to this day, there's a lot of advantages to Egnyte that stem from that core architecture being a central repository that gives you access in that familiar way. But then, of course, all of the modern capabilities laid on top of it, where most of the other solutions that provide kind of the modern sync and share type experience, whether it's OneDrive connected to SharePoint or Dropbox or Google Drive, et cetera, they were built to do different things and run into certain challenges. I'd say maybe at scale or dealing with security, and we can kind of, I think we'll dive into some of that stuff deeper in this interview.
Bringing up the topic of management and security, how does Egnyte support businesses in managing secure file sharing and collaboration?
The foundation of what Egnyte provides, or the Egnyte platform, if you will, is a cloud file server where we enhance, performance through things like caching and bandwidth, network optimization, delta sync, those sorts of things, permissions, etc. So you've kind of got this very solid and scalable foundation. On top of that, we've built kind of these, let's say, additional capabilities, right? Whether that's collaboration, whether that's AI or intelligence, or kind of security and governance capabilities on top of that, largely helping organizations kind of centralize their data so that they know and understand their data, what they have, where they have it, how it's being shared, right? Lots of organizations are struggling with content sprawl. They've got data in Microsoft Teams and this syncing over to my OneDrive, also things in email, et cetera, all over the place. And it becomes difficult to know where the latest is. And that causes productivity issues. It can cause security issues, right? Not really being able to know where your sensitive content lives makes it very difficult, of course, to protect that content. So I would say those are kind of the core elements to kind of how we can help optimize from, I'd say, that 10,000-foot view is really just help you simplify and centralize your data. And then from there, as a starting point, you can really kind of build on this foundation.
How does Egnyte help businesses meet compliance and data governance requirements?
That could differ depending on the compliance requirement, right? So just to name a few of the capabilities, for example, we help classify data to help you, for example, understand where your personally identifiable information is, help you maintain compliance with privacy laws, right? I think in the US, there's about 20 states that have their own privacy law. In Europe, they have GDPR, right? And it's kind of very complex for organizations that deal with personally identifiable information to meet the needs of these different privacy laws. And so we've kind of packaged these into our classification engine so you can tick a few boxes and help you identify content that's under those jurisdictions, right? So that would be one, is really helping you identify where your privacy data is, or where other patient health information is for HIPAA compliance, for example. There can be other compliance requirements that rely on like data integrity, right? You need to be able to ensure that the data that goes in is the data that comes out. So we do like checksum validations, and in our audit reports, we can guarantee that the content that's making its way in. So, like, for example, the SEC for publicly traded companies, they have compliance requirements where write once, read many times. And for digital records, it needs to be written to immutable storage. And Egnyte provides immutable object storage kind of natively, right? So again, ensuring that every version of these files can be retained for, let's say, 7 years for a retention schedule. I'd say the last thing that kind of comes to mind just off the top of my head would be CMMC compliance or just generally organizations that deal with the government. This has become a lot more, I think, top of mind for a lot of organizations that work with as that are in the supply chain for the Department of Defense. They need to meet certain requirements in order to store the data and then be able to go through these assessments that they're properly securing what they call CUI or controlled unclassified information. And Egnyte has a Egnyte Gov plan that allow you to meet the requirements to store that data as being driven by the DoD.
Do you guys have any examples on how Ignite has helped a business improve their productivity and security?
A ton of examples.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like for example, on the CMMC side that I was just referring to, there's over 100 firms that are using Ignite now as their secure enclave, and to make sure that they're ready for CMMC requirements that are coming into place this year, right? And that's been important for them to kind of have this path in some cases for multiple years in order to, because this is kind of this looming legislature, um, the prime contractors have been requiring their subcontractors that are going to work on these projects to have a path towards CMMC compliance has been in the contract just to win these bids and win these jobs, because those prime contractors, they don't want to be left kind of quote unquote holding the bag once CMMC is enforced, that, oh, wait, now all of these partners we're dealing with aren't compliant, right? So we've been helping organizations, in some of our cases, some of the like engineering firms that we work with, 80-90% of their business requires them to store CUI and thus to meet the CMMC requirements. That would be one, big example. Now, a lot of our customers tend to be, say, small to mid-sized businesses, maybe up to 500 employees, things like that. But we do have some very recognizable brands. One of my favorite customers is Red Bull.
Oh, yeah.
Red Bull, of course, they're a beverage manufacturer. We all know the energy drinks, but for practical purposes, they're a large, media company, and they're doing events all over the world. They have offices. I think they have 300 offices, something like that, in nearly 200 different countries around the world. Historically, just about every office, every region operated its own on-prem file server, its own kind of almost in some cases completely separate domain controllers, etc.
Kind of all over the place.
And now they've moved to Ignite, and we have a case study on our website. But they moved to Ignite, I want to say in like 2016, and they have what they call Bull Drive. It's Ignite, right? One place where all their users, any new employee, I think they've got around 20,000 employees, and any new employee gets issued a laptop that has Bull Drive on it, and that's Ignite. And the demands in all of these different countries, as well as events or people jumping out of planes with cameras and needing to get these, raw 4K videos to a social media team in order to kind of be able to, publish relevant content as these events are occurring, I think there's a lot of demands of their use case, and thus, makes it, one of the customers that I'm kind of proud to say that we support.
And I know you mentioned that you work with all kinds of business sizes, small, medium, large. What would you say the industry size that benefits the most from Ignite, or does it vary?
I think our lifeline kind of in the SMB sector. So we have companies that range from a couple employees to 1,000 employees. Between the SMB sector and kind of this mid-market sector is kind of where we see a lot of clients gravitate towards Ignite. We do have the Red Bulls and enterprise-sized clients as well, but I think for the most part, it's some of these mid-tier or mid-market as well as SMB clients in different industries, whether that be architecture, engineering and construction, or financial services, industries like life sciences as well, and media and advertising.